cried this? Oh, I have.
I am shocked it's because Adele is the crier. Siko Baya, but Adele cries a lot.
I cry, and like sometimes there's a wail with it, like, because it's so painful. It's so painful. I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave this job. So I'm present in studio, but my mind is not there. My mind is like, listen, you're wasting lives, because now I'm very more aware of like life is fleeting. So I'm like, yo, you could like die today and you're not happy in this space. Are you okay with having that on your, I don't know, when we're in heaven, on your conscience, just knowing, damn it.
As in, I think about it and it just like really like hits me like in my gut, like my mom will never get to meet my boyfriend. And I just really feel terrible about that, because I know she'd have been so happy for me.
I'm trying not to make too many more friends, because I'm just like, hey, there's more people to grieve for. To me, just.
Now we are going to relationships and marriage. We finished with the heavy stuff, guys. Don't worry. So I have known you from your first serious relationship. I did. From your first serious relationship at 16 to now your marriage. Okay, this is so awkward, but you're the one who put up these prompts. Not these prompts, but like you said, we can talk about relationships and marriage. So like, you be careful what you wish for. What were your biggest learnings from each of your past relationships? You don't have to tell us one by one if you don't want to. Or maybe I shouldn't have let you off the hook.
They're like all 5 of them. Like, I like, because I think one thing that I did really wrong, and it's not awkward to talk about this because, like, I'm 31. That was a lifetime ago. But my relationships would always overlap into the next. And so I really didn't think about getting to know myself. Yeah, like getting to take some time out as a woman to really know yourself, because we're always conditioned we always have to be in the confines of a relationship. But the journey of like knowing yourself is so important that sometimes it doesn't need distractions. I don't think anybody here is a teenager, so I don't have to say like, don't get into a relationship because it's peer pressure, because I think that's what I did with my first one. Everybody was, actually, Val, you were like, by the time I was in my first relationship in high school, Val was like on number 3. And
That is a lie. It was number 2.
Number 2. Yeah. And this was like month 2.
No, it was just number 1. But he just asked me out like the first
3.
week of school or something. If it was month 3, then it might be the second.
It was month 3 then. Yeah, it was month 3.
Wow.
So like, there's a lot of I guess that peer pressure still exists now, but I think the pressure is more marriage, right?
Yes.
Maybe not like boyfriend, girlfriend. So it's just to take yourself at your own pace. But one huge, because I think relationship is so hard for me to advise from the outside in, because you two know what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Even like with marriage, I'm like, maybe the structure of marriage for you doesn't involve the government, and that's absolutely fine. It's the two of you to decide. We're not the ones who are going to be uncomfortable or whatever. It's you guys who decide what's comfortable for you or not. But one learning was getting into a relationship immediately after my mom passed away, and I wasn't fully there, and I think I was looking for acceptance and all of these things that she stemmed from her. And I think you should know where you are emotionally at all times, not even only in relation to like getting into a relationship or whatever, just in general. So I always tell you this thing. So if like drinking alcohol, right? So I'm like, if I'm not okay emotionally, I will not drink, because it's just know where you're at and where you need to be to fully understand those emotions, and what could be a distraction or whatever. So it's the same with relationships. I think but I was also young, so I'm not even like going to be like, Adele, you were so stupid and nah. I was young. I just lost my mom. But I should have focused more on figuring out where I was at that time instead of trying to distract myself by getting into a relationship. Yeah.
That's a good point, because I remember it was Liz Marami who said during the first perspective, like, love, you'd give love to receive love, and you can't give what you don't have. So if you're not emotionally there or present or conscious or whatever it is, then you just cannot pour from an empty cup. So yeah, it's important to take stock.
Why are you smiling like
It's
that?
not, I'm not smiling. I'm just wondering whether to preempt the question or just go for it or whatever. How does or did being a rape survivor affect sexual intimacy in your relationships?
What? And I like that did we talk about going there? But like this year, it's so
Surprise.
funny. This year we're so I guess we're in sync because I've been very what do you call it? Intentional about the aspects of rape that I would want to talk about, because I realized the more I spoke about rape, I became like the token survivor on a show. Like, so TV shows would be like, oh, we're talking about rape, and call Adele. And it's not really talking about things. You're just the Wishy face they bring on, but not really unpacking stuff. So it's so fun you asked this question, because this year I did say that's something that I wanted to talk about. And I am writing about it in a book. Yeah. So, but you can't tell anyone. But, sorry, it's tough because in every relationship, you have to disclose your trauma even before the relationship becomes a sexual relationship. So you have to disclose that this is where I'm at. This is what I've survived. And this is how it's warped certain definitions for me. And you can imagine having to do that over, I've not been in like 20 relationships, but it's a lot because you're sharing this huge thing with this person. I'm fortunate enough to, I think the people that I've dated have not feared that would chase them away. But what was heavy for me is having to relive that and knowing that there's no way around this. Like, I literally have to hold this person's hand and say, this is where I've gone and this is how it's going to affect our sexual relationship, right? And I've had very understanding people, I think. Well, for the most part, except one. But it breaks, that experience broke how I viewed my body, whether I viewed myself as being attractive. So I have to rebuild that. Whether I felt like I was worthy of even just being loved. Before we get into a physical space, even just being loved. Am I worthy of love? And having to do all of that work myself and then bring in the person. So you find that your relationship becomes really serious. Like, from that point on, we're not talking about, flimsy things. So our relationship goes from 0 to 100 from that point. But I've been it starts with me. And I know it starts with me. And I have to guide the person I'm with to understand it. I'm healing and I'm also guiding them to it. So that's a lot. But it starts with me. And I can see now, because of the work that I've done, the intentional work of like loving myself and defining all of those things that were broken by that incident. Again, for myself, I can see how, I don't know if you have noticed, have you seen
The glow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, like, I think it's literally because of the intentional work
Intentional. I love that word. Sorry. Continue.
Yeah. Intentional work I've done. I stopped wearing, I used to wear stockings all the time and hide my legs. I used to like wear long sleeved stuff. And I was just like, but why? Why? I want to wear those shorts. Like, first, it's hard to find pants my length. Let's just start there. So the one thing I know I can buy without even fitting are shorts. So why must I also have a plug for like every time I buy shorts, do I have stockings? Ooh, no, I don't. I'll wait until I just started feeling like you need to love yourself. And especially if you're working with women who have survived rape and you're telling them that they need to love themselves, but you're telling them that while you're standing there in your stockings and and you're not really walking the talk. Can we just focus on you for a second? And that then translated very positively to like my relationship. Yeah.
First of all, congratulations to you for like how you've just survived everything that have been thrown your way. Not just survive, like thrive, and you've made something of it. Because I remember I went for the spread, the live recording, and there was someone who I don't know if she was either or they were talking about rapes or something, and she said, you can be with someone and you really like this someone and you're being intimate together and they do something, and it's not that you don't like what they're doing, it's that you don't like where it takes you. Yes. So just having to, I can imagine how difficult it must have been in your relationships to get to where you are now. So kudos. Yeah. Let's talk marriage.
That was
No, because you're married. Happily, I hope.
yes.
Oh, good, I'm
I'm
kidding
not
you.
saying that because my husband is just like, yeah.
How did you know he was the one? Because you were in previous relationships, we've talked about them just now, but how did you know? First of all, let me tell you guys a fun story. My birthday, I was turning 27. We were in Vineyard with some of these people. My sis left early to go hang out with another friend. Can you imagine? But it's okay. Anyway, so she came as well to Vineyard, and then she told her then boyfriend, were you even dating at the time? No, but she just happened to text, yeah, I'm at Vineyard for a friend's birthday. And then he came. Of course, he was really trying to katia her. And then they had their first kiss at my birthday. And I said, I will always tell that story. So now that nonsense interjection is out of the way.
I'm just thinking, why was Vineyard my place? Like I was always there. Like, what the hell?
It was those shorts,
Yeah,
and the
the
bartenders
cocktails.
were fine.
I don't know about that. No, okay, so what was the question? You didn't even ask the question.
I asked. I said, how did you know he
Oh,
was
how did I
the
know he was
yes,
the one?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so now I'm blushing. So how did I know he was the one? I don't know if it's like a switch, but obviously having been through like one super disastrous like relationship, I had like my eyes wide open, right? And I knew there were certain things that were deal breakers for sure, because marriage is not just love. It's like an organization. Like you're building an organization or a business. So you're looking for like your business partner. I know this doesn't sound sexy at all, but it's just the reality of things, because you're running this home. So this home is like a business, right? There needs to be, if you have employees, so if you're the cleaning lady, Mary or whatever, so you're paying her a salary, there's bills to be paid. It literally is. If you think about it, it's like a business or an organization. So apart from love and attraction, which is very important, there are all of these things that you kind of have to like look at this person the same way you would a business partner or somebody you're creating an organization with. And I knew my husband from, this sounds so strange, from primary school. And because I was in a swimming team in Loreto Convent Valley Road, LCBR, and he was in St. Mary's, and he was a swimmer there. He's really good. He's a really good swimmer still to date. And he would never talk to us though. And I was at that age where you're like, oh, boys are not dirty and like gross. Like, they're kind of cool. And so you, as the girls, I still remember this one time to the swimming gala, and he walked past, and we would dare each other with my squads back then to like, you say hi, you say hi to, there was this guy whose surname was Manji, and we all thought that his family owned House of Manji, and we all wanted free biscuits. So like, you say hi to Manji, and say, hi Manji. And he was like a ladies guy, so he'd always be like, hi. And I remember this one time, my dare was to say hi to Falgun, my husband. And he literally, and I know he heard me, literally looked and kept walking. And I was just
Bro.
woo.
Fall back.
You have to walk back to your squad and they're like, You're just like, please, we came here to swim. What is your 50-meter time? Because we came here to swim, right? So I knew him from back then, and I knew he was always very, because he was in the swimming age group with the sister I follow, Amanda, and so I knew he was always very like focused and like the swimming, and it was all about like he was not interested in like swimming galas. People would disappear behind the tents and not to do anything crazy. But, you're teenagers and you're at that age. But, for goodness sake.
Teenagers then, rather.
Yeah, you're teenagers then. And he was very focused and stuff. So when we reconnected, I did this thing. This is not how I knew he was the one. This is how I engished him box. Is I had a radio show at the time on 1FM. And we were chatting on Facebook almost every day. And I was just like, let me make him feel special. So I was like, oh, you listening to the show? I gave him a shout out. And my husband to date, that thing still, he's like, you're strong. You gave me a shout out.
I can actually see him doing that.
Yeah. Like you gave me a shout out. And I was just like, yeah, but how I knew he was the one who's like, interacting with him, I was very intentional even afterwards to go through the dating process. I feel like we don't date, you guys. Like dating is before you get into a relationship. Dating is getting to know a person. It's
Is that before sex or is it during sex? Just answer and tell us.
I don't know. I think it would be ideal to be before, and you go to for dates, like go for coffee, go for plays, go for all of these things to get to know each other, because that's when you know whether he's the one, and he's the one is not this knight in shining armor who's going to ride in on a horse. It's like, I want to see how this guy handles anger. Okay, he can communicate it. How is he with money? All right, this is, what's his ambition like when he talks about the things that he wants to achieve? What's his work ethic like? Is he intellectual, or are we not going to be able to have any form of conversation? That's the phase where you start checking all of these things. Because the reason you're on that date is because you're like, I dig this guy. That right? You already feel it. But it's like, this organization I want to build requires people of a certain profile. And so that is the phase where I was like, all right, take. How does he treat his family? And how will he treat my family? Will my family be his family, right? And you can only know that through conversations and dating. Dating is not boyfriend and girlfriend. Dating is before all of that happens. It's like getting to know, so that you can just be like, hapa siwezani, like, no, I can't do this. Yeah. So just do that, please.
So we date.
Date, please, date. Go on dates. Anyway, go on dates.
What are you going to say? Tell us. Just tell us.
I did go like that year that I did start dating my husband. I went on intentional dates, right? I dated.
Yeah, you did,
I dated because I was like, we have been doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong because it was just like, out of relationship, next relationship. And you don't get to know somebody. And you don't get to know even what you like and what you dislike, right? Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. We'll try dating, I promise. Not me, though. I'm in a relationship. These guys are promised. So how different is it being married as opposed to in a relationship? Did it feel significantly different? Is it feeling different now that a few years in, or has it just always been the same thing?
I don't think it changes much. It's like a never-ending sleepover. That's the only thing. Like, you just kind of have to maneuver the days you don't want a human being in your space, and how do you communicate that? And how do you panga your we're very lucky, like our schedules. I can have me time without him even knowing she's having me time because he's at work, or I'm, at home because I work from home. And so I think why it changes is because of conditioning, you guys. Like, we get conditioned to believe marriage needs to be a certain way. And I remember the year I got married, I still wasn't showing my legs and stuff. So I was wearing a lot of, what are they called? Stockings underneath my shorts. And I used to wear shorts to work. But then, because now I had a stockings guy in Langata, but now I was married and I was living in Parklands. So I didn't know where to get stockings. Then I'd go into malls and see like 1,000 bob. Those are 10 pairs from my guy. Let me just wait for the day I go to Langata because I ain't, And so I couldn't wear my shorts. And I remember a lady in the office telling me, somebody said, because I was wearing full jeans. And she was like, you're wearing jeans now. What happened to the shorts? And another older woman said, oh, no, it's because she's married. Let me tell you, I've never gone to buy stockings so fast because I was like, what do you mean? Because what? I mean, why must my clothing change? Because
you found me wearing these shorts.
Exactly.
You want me to stop now?
And people expect you to, your life must pause and you now, no, if you're married,
there no more wigs, no more earrings, no more falses, all those, none of those.
And I think those things, like, for example, I mentioned earlier my nails, that's my me time. When I was resigning and I was like, savings plan, I was like, I still need to do my nails. So like, that was part of like the budgeting and stuff. And we're conditioned as women to give and give and give and give. Even our identity when we get into marriage, just give and give. What are you married? Give. And not really just keep enjoying life the way you did, in a way that is mindful of the other person, of course, and you're communicating to the other person, of course, but you're also living your life. So I don't think, whenever immediately we got married, like people would be like, so how has life changed? I kept wondering, does something happen? Like, because I'm just like, it hasn't changed for us. Are we like sick? Because everyone else seems to know this change or whatever. But I don't think it's. You're already in the mind space of marriage. The wedding is a party. So even before that Sharia house or whatever, your mind space is already on marriage, right? So the only tricky bit is living with someone, because you've probably not lived together, all right? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. That's the only bit that you would have to communicate more, and just because you're learning, before your date nights, the whole day has passed. It's only your sisters or whoever you live with who know, in the morning this chick didn't talk to anyone, and that's just who she is, or she doesn't like people in her space. When she comes home from work, she needs silence for 1 hour. So that's the only bit that you kind of need to communicate to each other about. Yeah, that's the only change.
Okay, and last but not least, though you've answered this in a roundabout way, but why not? Do you have any tips for making a marriage work, or fun, or sizzling? Whatever you want to tell us. We are listening.
No, I have 0 tips for you, because y'all need to make your own relationships what you want them. Stop following all of this relationship advice and whatever. Sit down with the person that you're with, communicate, figure out what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, what a good, fun marriage would look. I mean, I like poetry, so I would tell you, okay, a night of sitting down and we chambua poetry together. Somebody else is like, Kwani, we are in class
to sleep
by
7 p.m.
Yeah. So it's like, y'all, I think we need to reclaim that power, for not only for ourselves and defining what beauty is for ourselves and success and whatever, but also in your relationships. Like, just sit down and talk and be like, me, this is what I consider fun, or these, my husband would tell you, going for a rally, me now, or camping. And so you have to have those conversations as yourselves, as the two of you, and not rely too much on somebody. Because my experience is informed of 10 years of dating that you were not privy to, right? Maybe I did some wrong things there as well. And then now I'm coming to give you tips. And
then when it fails, they're like, Adelle told us.
Yeah. And then I don't know you and what informs the way you do things. So I can't set standards for what would work for you or whatever. Just think it through? Or do you even need to be married? Maybe not. That's also okay.
You heard?
So yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Okay, so we're done with the interview. It was not so bad. Guys, please give Val a warm round of applause, because this is the first time we've ever done this. And we've been friends 15 years, shame on us. But this is the first time we've ever done this. And also today is her late mom's birthday. And so for her to be here and doing this with me, I sent you a nice message. You didn't respond to it.
I was crying. Or rather, I was trying not to cry.
Okay.
It was really bad. Honestly, it was really bad.
It's okay. It's fine. For her to, on this day, be doing this with me and to be doing this with you guys, it's I know I would not be strong enough to be able to do that. So I think that's so commendable, and so I'll clap for you. Because your strength might not look like my strength. Like me speaking out on my story may say, okay, that's a strong woman. And me who's not talking about my story, that means I'm weak. No, yours might be defined differently.
I remember when I learned the words resilience and stoic. So resilient was me and stoic was Adele, because how she'll go through stuff and she won't show it until like much later. But me, I'll go through and bounce back from it very quickly. So I used to say I'm a strong, resilient woman. But now that I'm crying all the time, I'm like, but now am I not strong anymore?
And that's not a big deal. Like you wouldn't even like turn your head. But to me, I was just like, I am showing ankle. This is great.